Hey, I was just writing myself a note about you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a reminder to borrow your camera, get some good shots of Edmund.
Fine, it's yours. Listen, Senecca, I've had about all I can take of Roger Coleridge. He's got me in a lousy position, and I detest it. And I want to know how much longer I got to put up with it.
What's he up to now? Come on, sit down. Give me the whole story.
Is it possible that you put it that far in the back of your mind? Look, it's nothing new, you know. Roger knows that you're not Edmund's father, and he's using it to blackmail you, and me by association. Now, maybe you can deal with it by ignoring it, but I can't, because I have to take orders with him out there on the floor every day. And Senecca, I swear, if he pushes me much further, I'm going to punch his face in.
I never forget what Roger's pulling with me. Not for 1 minute.
I'm tired.
I didn't know he'd been riding you.
It's not all that much. It's just... it makes me mad.
In fact, I didn't know that you and he had been discussing my situation with Jillian.
Well, not in any detail. I haven't been dealing with him on a personal level, and he understands why.
So, he's been getting even on a professional level, huh?
Well, he has authority over me, and he's exerting it. It's sort of like he's rubbing my nose in the fact that I can't ignore him. Not around here, anyway.
What's he having you do?
Well, nothing that terrible. I mean, it's... like, for instance, this morning, he has me running his errands instead of doing my own work. And I mean, it's not the orders, it's the way he gives them. It's the sense that he's got me right smack under his thumb.
Okay, all right, now look. Roger is senior to you, but ultimately he has to answer to me. And if he gets so much out of...
What are you going to do, fire him? You can't even discipline him. As long as he holds that thread over your head, Roger can do no wrong.
I'm not going to permit him to cause trouble on this service with you or anyone else.
Look, the only way that you are going to control Roger is to make it impossible for him to blackmail you. You have to tell Jill the truth.
I know, and I'm going to.
When?
The minute that I'm sure that she is really over Frank Ryan.
Do you know what that says to me?
Well, I hope it says that Roger's power over the both of us is strictly temporary.
No, exactly the opposite. I'm beginning to think that you're never going to be able to tell Jill that Frank is Edmund's father, because you're never going to be sure that she's out of love with him. And therefore, Roger's always going to hold this power over you. And to keep his mouth shut, you're going to have to let him go on playing his games here for years and years.
Okay, now I can guarantee you that just is not going to happen. One day, relatively soon, I am going to announce to Roger that he can go to Jill, and he can tell her everything he knows about Edmund's blood type, and the things that led us to believe that I was his father. As a matter of fact, the minute that I tell Jill, I am going to fire Roger. You're invited to the ceremony.
How are you going to tell her that you've lied?
I don't know, but I believe I can make her understand.
That you knew she had Frank's child, and that you sat by and watched him break out without saying anything?
Yes. Yes, I'll go into all that. And she'll listen, Bucky, because she'll have a new perspective on Frank. A healthy one. She'll see how destructive he was all those years. Partly because you compare my relationship with her with all those years with Frank. Now, when she can differentiate between being used and being loved, I will tell her the truth about Edmund. She'll deal with it just fine.
And everybody's going to live happily ever after?
Well, something like that, yeah.
Look, Senecca, I feel for you, and I'd like to be supportive and drop this whole issue, but I think we ought to get things straight between us. Look, I think you're off base all around. I mean, I think there are responsibilities that you're ignoring. Not purposely, but because you need to. And I think it's your perspective that's screwed up.
Look, Bucky, I am sorry that Roger is giving you a pain, but I'm afraid you're just going to have to deal with it a little while longer. Now, the fact is, I'm very well aware of my responsibilities. The first of which is to Jill. Now, she is trying to get over Frank Ryan. I have an obligation to help her.
What, by deceiving her?
No, by doing what I think is right for her, because I love her.
How long has he been out of surgery?
About an hour now.
Are you okay?
Well, my hands are cold and they're wet. I have a headache.
Look, it's not all that bad a procedure. We'll come through it all right.
But sometimes things go wrong, don't they?
Rarely.
You know, when my parents died, I was the one that insisted that Angel be with me. Because I knew they were going to try to separate us. And I promised my aunt that I would look after him, take care of him, be responsible for him.
All kids have accidents. There's no way to guard against that.
Well, I brought him here as soon as the accident happened. I mean, when the emergency room was full, I took him to Dr. Ryan.
Elisia, you did everything you could. You did.
But I'm so worried about him. But I trust Dr. Coleridge and Dr. Ryan.
Oh, good. Because he's going to come through it all right. You'll see.
Blood pressure?
140/90.
Pulse?
155 and steady.
And some suction, please. Thank you. In just a little while now, and we'll be through the bone.
You know, for such a small boy, Angel's one of the quietest patients we ever had. He's always like that?
No. He's been feeling kind of funny lately for about a week now.
Yeah?
Yeah, he hasn't been himself. He said he's been dizzy. And one day he got sent home from the bakery where he works because he got sick to his stomach. I thought maybe because, you know, he ate something he wasn't supposed to, but he told me he didn't.
Did you tell Dr. Ryan that he was feeling sick the week before the accident?
No, everything happened so fast.
Well, he must ask you the case history.
Well, he didn't talk about that, you know. And we talked, but then he went into convulsions.
Look, in a little while, with any luck, they'll be wheeling him down here as good as new.
With God's help. I pray and I pray and I pray that everything is going okay.
Suction, please. Thank you. All right, let's see now. There doesn't seem to be any evidence of increased pressure on the dura. Scalpel?
Underneath, maybe.
Needle nose forceps? Seems we have a problem, Doctor. There's no hematoma here.
Must be on the opposite side.
It's quite possible. Let's go to the other side and find out.